How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So previously we did the fall of Xbox. Now we're doing the fall of PlayStation as requested. Someone did actually put this video to me in the comment section. So here we are. I did say find the video, make the request, and I will do it. So here we go. Let's check out this video, react to it, and see exactly what this is all about. So let's go. This is from Dragonraygaming. I'll have a link to it in the description below. Okay, let's check this out.
Listen, people, I come back after a little break from content creation. There's not a lot of news that was coming out, but after this little while when I've come back, I've seen effectively Sony. I want to say Sony is imploding right now, but I'm gonna say there's a lot of things changing behind the scenes that they're not going to come forth with. We have some insiders talking, and there's a new structural integration changing for Sony, and a lot of people aren't going to like it.
Oh, we've already seen cancellations with factions and a bunch of other stuff. So, you know, this video was from about 5 months ago. So, you know, he's pretty much calling it at this point. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how he's cooking.
Me included,
I'm also loving that star-filled mic, by the way. Don't think I didn't notice it. I really wanted one, but I had to go with a standard black one. But I did notice it.
Say, but something's changing right now, and there's a lot of people that can't handle it. First, the last thing I reported really on truly was the ABK deal. Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard. Power your dreams. Go Xbox. Woohoo. Now we can move forward. Like I made countless videos on that. I made countless videos of what Sony can do after that. But this right here for Sony is, I don't know what the future holds, because this is staggering. We got David Jaffe talking about it. We have some insiders giving him information. We have some specific YouTubers talking about it. Inside Gaming, VGC, all these other people talking about it. So if you guys tune into my news, let's see, we can talk about it and we'll see what my official thoughts on this thing. So first up, we're going to look at what David Jaffe has to say first. And this is going to be a doozy, people. Let's check this out. All right, now let's check.
I actually really like that animation switch. Might have to look into something like that. But let's see what David Jaffe has to say, because this guy seems to be really level-headed. I'm really liking it so far.
This out.
Okay, so she was fired. She was not let go.
Fired.
Hired.
Wow.
She didn't quit.
That's crazy. If you guys don't know Connie Boo, she's been in the game for a long time. She deals with a lot of stuff in the background. Ghost.
Now, if you recall, like, clearly this Ray know his stuff, but you know, when you're looking at the PlayStation fans at the time, they were quite disrespectful to a certain degree, saying Connie who the hell's Connie? No one's even heard of Connie. And you know, it's not the first time I've heard the name Connie Booth. I know she's been instrumental in a lot of PlayStation projects, but to actually be discarded like that by Sony as a scapegoat for someone who was, you know, I guess wasn't championing the live service, but was placed in that position and then basically left for the dogs to just chew apart. It's not good, man. Not good. It shows that the culture at Sony is pretty bad. They will leave you hung out to dry if the need, you know, if it comes to that.
Tsushima mainly, that in recent times that people know. That's crazy, dude.
He got a call earlier in the week.
Like, some people won't give David Jaffe credit, but he does have sources and he is creditable. He still has his contacts in the PlayStation community.
Escorted out of the building.
Escorted? Yeah, dude.
She was in between.
No, man, I'm not liking this, dude. I'm not liking this. You guys can see why when I give you like the breakdown details, and then we'll see about some other things that's going on.
What this individual is saying inside of Sony,
yeah, man,
is that
it's crazy, dude.
Jim Ryan.
Yep, Jim Ryan
was convinced, as we know.
Yep, listen to this right here. This is what I heard.
That games as a service was the future.
Games as a service.
Right?
effectively is the future. You guys remember on the PlayStation Showcase, they said they have 12 unannounced games as a service games coming into market. And listen, effectively, you guys know, where's Factions 2? Where is Factions 2?
Factions 2 is long gone, buddy. Factions 2 came and went just like the sun rises and sets on a daily basis. Factions 2 is no more. And that went home run straight out of it. In fact, that went so good that Neil Druckmann came out and said that that was one of the best projects he's ever worked on and still cancelled it. But one of the things that is interesting here that we already know about is the fact that Jim Ryan actually said, or was someone said to Jim Ryan, that live service is the future. Now, why is live service the future? I know that live service bubble is bursting, but if you have a good live service game that even, I mean, from the 12 that they were actually pushing out, you're realistically only expecting one of those to stick, if you're lucky. But that one that sticks will be enough to fund pretty much 3-4 projects within the company. If it's, you know, really highly successful. Just look at how successful Destiny was. Don't look at how it's faltering now. Just look at it during its prime. It was doing amazing. And to be fair, for it to be going for 10 years, it's done phenomenally well. You're looking at games like The Division, which, you know, had a lot more stumbling blocks with the way the game was handled, with the cheaters and everything, but it is still going, and there's talks of Division 3. These are separate products, mind you, from the Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3, unlike what Destiny decided to do once they got to Destiny 2 and just continue it. But it shows that the live service model can be a massive boon to a company. But then you've got stuff like Avengers, Babylon's Fall, you've got Anthem, which are massive failures. Then you've got Fallout 76, which launched as a colossal mess, but now is actually regarded as a very, very good game. So I guess it really depends where it lands, but in the end, what's important is that if it does land and it's, you know, it's stationary, it's going to be successful. And if it's successful, it's going to bring in money. And that's what it's all about. That's why you see a lot of these free-to-play games like Warframe that are, you know, doing well because of, you know, the live, you know, as a live service game, they are constantly pumping out content, keeping their community, you know, apprised, interested, engaged, and that generally passes on to people spending it within the shop. And that shop money is where they get it, the microtransactions.
There's some people saying it's canceled. Even I said the game was canceled, but I'm getting called a liar. Like, I think the game was canceled to begin with. Like, it was too ambitious. They need to dumb it down.
He said it was canceled from 5 months ago. My dude is a crystal ball.
You know, I don't know what's going on, but this is wild. Let's keep on going. Let's watch.
The studios to start making them.
Yeah. He's forcing them.
And
This is some Don Matrix stuff.
That wasn't, as you would imagine, taken in with a lot of love.
Yeah, dude. Nobody wants to make a lot of games as a service anymore. Like,
cinematic games. And
Sony's bread and butter. Well, listen to this. I'll give you my thoughts of this. This is gonna be.
all that stuff. So
Oh my god, dude.
apparently, this made a lot of the studios very unhappy.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah, man.
When the Naughty Dog game was canceled, that was
Oh,
kind
see,
of
even he's saying it.
bizarre for a lot
Naughty
of people.
Dog
A lot of
canceled Factions
studios,
2.
they got very
That's another
upset
source.
that the game had been canceled, and very upset that they were, or at least some of them were being forced to make these sorts of games.
Yeah. Okay. So that right there is what David Jaffe had to say, and then we'll talk about. I got a thing from Post Up right here. This is what Post Up had to say. This is a stand by stand, play by play what happened. Like what I was saying earlier, Sony's bread and butter is their cinematic story single player games. That is what they're good at. That is what they're known for, and that right there is what they really want to do.
I totally disagree. When Sony first burst onto the scene, they were not known for that at all. What made the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 was their third-party support and their third-party exclusives, not these cinematic games. These cinematic games really started in the PS4 era and kind of took off during that point when you had the games like The Last of Us, God of War, Uncharted to a certain degree anyway. So no, I disagree with that take entirely, but I also disagree with the fact that they should continue doing what they do best. But I also disagree with the fact that they should continue doing what they do best, because eventually, at some point, that bubble is also going to burst. The good thing about Xbox is that I guess they don't really have those cinematic games. Hellblade is going to be one of them, and I'm really happy for it because I enjoy those games personally. So I'm really happy that Hellblade is going to be there. I'm really excited to see what Indiana Jones is going to be, because that's could be a similar style of game. But then there's of course Blade. So we are getting those type of games coming, hopefully, or maybe not like a movie-esque game, but something that actually is very story driven. Is what I'm pointing at. I don't really like the fact that you don't get to control the game as much, but I do like a story-driven game. That's why I like RPGs. But his notion that they should stick to that is why Sony is failing. Jim Ryan has already come out and said multiple times that those games don't make money. They're not enough to fund other games. They have to rely on third-party super hitters like Call of Duty to fund those single-player games. If they have to rely on a third-party game to fund those single-player games, there are bigger problems there where these games are just not selling enough. So to say that they should stick to that, that's literally just, that is part of the problem for Sony. And this is why in reality, this is why they're on a downward path.
They've been, I don't say they're creatively bankrupt. People say that against Microsoft anyway. That's a given. You can say that. However,
how can you say that against Microsoft? At the end of the day, there is way more creative games, way more diverse games on Xbox than PlayStation could ever have. So that's a rubbish take right there as well.
Xbox right now, they've been putting out the games. Like, they've literally been putting out their games. Sony's been put out one game this year. Pretty much. Pure first party game, one game, Spider-Man 2.
And that didn't even turn out well, did it?
And you guys know my discourse of Spider-Man 2 right now. I've been having bugs like crazy, and people don't believe me. And I see Amazing Lucas make a video, and they're still calling me up. Dude, guys, Spider-Man 2 is buggy. It's fine.
Hey, it's Cute Boy. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, I can see the jacket. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep playing this. I want you guys to hear this. If you guys think I'm playing about these freaking Spider-Man bugs, listen, I'm actually in the start screen and I'm dying in the background. Listen. Like, it's kind of hard to tell. I'm gonna turn up the volume. Listen. Spider-Man is getting killed, or Miles is getting killed in the background. And it just keeps restarting. Guys, I'm telling you, my Marvel Spider-Man is so freaking buggy, dog. Dude, look, this is literally the start screen. I'm not bullshitting.
I mean, I didn't hear anything there, but I guess it might have not come through. But that cube that's dirty. That never happened to me, at least.
I'm just pointing it out. None of you guys are saying Spider-Man 2 isn't buggy. Now, go back to that ham. That is what they're good at. They come out with God of War. That is what they're good at. They have no multiplayer presence whatsoever. Unless it's third party. They don't have any first party like Halo and stuff like that. So, let's see what this thing has to say. Breaking.
But that's the problem why Sony is faltering. Those single player experiences aren't enough. I don't think people understand that quite well. There's only so far those single player experiences costing $400 million are going to take them when they're not making the money to cover those games. Making a little bit of profit on them, or a marginal profit, isn't enough for Sony. That's why they can't make those investments. Like, I'm seeing people saying that new dude, Shuji, that's coming to head of Sega, is now going to be partnering and selling off to PlayStation. How is PlayStation going to afford that? They're getting fined $8 billion right now. Well, potentially. I think they're more worried about keeping the lights on and the heads of department employed rather than going out and buying Sega, which I think Microsoft should absolutely go and do.
News confirmed by David Jaffe. Connie Booth was not let go, she was fired. Sean Layden was escorted out the building when he was let go. Jim Ryan was convinced games as a service feature PlayStation, told first-party studios to start making them, which we've heard and which we've seen inklings in the future. We've seen some things in the background. Next, cancellation.
See, I don't get the fact that PlayStation Studios were unhappy about this decision. At the end of the day, you're paid to do whatever you're your parent company tells you. You can be unhappy, but you're still supposed to do a job. And this is something that I didn't agree with Redfall developers. They were unhappy with where the game was going. You're still paid to do a job. If you paid to, if I did, if I did really badly in my job would be on the line. Being happy is all great and good, but you're still paid to do a job. Now, what they could have done is actually brought a team in for those live service games. I think that would have been a lot more, that would have been a much smarter move.
PlayStation effects to PlayStation Studios upset. Yes, we covered that too. The vast majority of people worked under Connie are gone, and it seems they've left at the same time she did. This right here, this is gonna piss a lot of people off, because you guys don't understand, people. You guys got, I'm not gonna post it here. You guys got to do your research on Connie Boo. She has been putting in work through all these years, and she was fired. I don't know who at the top is making these decisions, but honestly, you're gonna start feeling the sting of this.
Because there is no loyalty within Sony. I get companies are, a business is a business, but the amount of work Connie did for Sony was insurmountable, and for her to be discarded like a piece of trash just shows how Sony values its staff, its studios. I mean, it's been terrorizing its studios, it's been cannibalizing its studios, and it's just been shredding and ripping apart their studios. It's not great what Sony's doing. Sony is, despite the fact that they've got and we saw their lineup for the first quarter of the year, almost everything is either coming to PC or going to be PC day one. That's a complete contrast to where they were, say, 12 months ago or, 24 months ago, when everything was PlayStation exclusive. So you can clearly see that they've already started this transitional phase to go to PC, because PlayStation players don't buy enough games. They may buy the console, but we all know why they're using that console for. They're using it to charge those magic wands.
Like, that's why it's good to be a multi-platform gamer, play PC, Xbox, Nintendo, and Sony. You have to be multi-platform right now, because you're gonna start feeling the sting of this. You can't be playing Call of Duty all day, can't be playing Halo all day, can't be playing Valorant all day.
Do you want to bet? I know people that just live in Valorant, nothing else. Literally live in Valorant.
Well, you can technically, but if you want to play something different, do that. Now, apparently Herman Hulst was a big favor of cutting all of the Japanese studios.
Ouch.
Japanese Contact wasn't a big fan of Herman. Yeah, cutting all Japanese studios.
I mean, and we know this, right? Because as soon as they moved over to from Japan to America for the main office, that kind of flair that Sony had with the Japanese market, it disappeared overnight. There wasn't any of this censorship in Sony games. They never did any of that while Japan was in charge of Sony. As soon as it came over to the US, that's it. Certain games just started disappearing. Censorship started coming in. And, to me, the core culture of what made Sony, the PlayStation brand, has dissipated.
From Sony, PlayStation. Dude, that's crazy. I don't know what's going on. You guys are on top right now. That's crazy. Listen to this. That's just what David Javi had to say. This right here is what's been happening to PlayStation for this past time I was gone. Like, what is this?
PlayStation layoffs hit Dreams developer Media Molecule. Yeah, they went. PlayStation's visual art studios hit with layoffs. Longtime PlayStation producer Connie Booth has reportedly left Sony or fired. PlayStation-backed Deviation Games hit with layoffs. Yep. Reports suggest Sony conducted massive layoffs at Final Strike Games, scrapping 3-year sci-fi shooter. Crazy. Naughty Dog devs suffer layoffs, reportedly impacting Last of Us multiplayer spin-off. PlayStation head Jim Ryan leaving Sony next spring. And of course, there's J-Rock. But what this one's also missing, I think it was Fire Spirit, the studio. If you go to Glassdoor, and you see some of their reviews, they actually say that since becoming part of PlayStation, the culture that they had working there is completely gone. Sony has moved in and systematically dismantled everything they created as a independent company and has turned them into basically pencil pushers. Their words, not mine. It's pretty horrible apparently to work there right now because it's so just corporate rather than having a fun working culture that people used to enjoy going to work to.
PlayStation lays off the Dreams developer Media Molecule. They got rid of Dreams developer Media Molecule. They laid off people. 15 to 20% staff lost. Dude, this economy's wild. Next, PlayStation Visual Art Studio hit with layoffs. Former employees have shared the news on social media. No official report. They're kind of keep this hush hush. There's Connie Booth right there. Longtime PlayStation producer Connie Booth has reportedly left Sony, and we know as of right now she was fired. What is going on, Sony? Naughty Dog devs suffer layoffs, reportedly impacting Last of Us multiplayer spinoff. This right here so far has been quiet canceled. We don't have no official report from Naughty Dog.
It's official now.
Know that the game was bigger in scope and they had to restart development, or I'm gonna say restart development, I should say. We know that the development has been a rocky start. That is what we know. Reports suggest Sony conducted massive layoffs on the Final Strike game, scrapping 3-year sci-fi shooter. What? Okay, I don't even know what this is. Layoffs at Final Strike game, scrapping a 3-year sci-fi shooter. I have no idea what that was. I don't remember that. PlayStation head Jim Ryan is leaving Sony next spring. This is probably part of the reconstructuring of Sony.
Nah, that was because he lost ABK. He lost ABK. They're like, buddy, you're getting the hell out of here. You failed us.
Jim Ryan is probably clashing with the executives and higher up. He's the pinnacle. He's leaving next spring, but he's setting up his next man. He's setting up his next bloke. That's what I reported on back then. He's setting him up for this game's future. Like I said, Sony stocks are high right now. Sony stocks are severely high right now. I don't see why they're starting to change service right now because of this. Next, PlayStation-backed Deviation Games hit with layoffs. They're also hit with layoffs. If you guys are doing so well in the background, why are you getting hit with layoffs? See what I'm saying? I know this is the economy, but you guys got to work with your people. And now, let's go on with my final thoughts, because this is going to be... This right here for Sony, like, I don't know what they're doing right now. I understand their focus is going to games as a service. There's not been a lot of successful games as a service. You know, Halo was a rocky start for Xbox as their flagship games as a service. Fortnite is a good example of a good games as a service. If they don't want to say next is Call of Duty and things of that like, things of that ilk, I should say. Sony, as effectively right now, doesn't have one. But there's a lot of people that believe, they have faith that Sony can knock it out of the park. Even Destiny, I love Destiny. I haven't played in a long time though. You see what I'm saying? I was playing, not the final, was it the Final Shape? Probably. Yeah, you guys saw me in the Destiny trailer video. I'm not gonna bring that up again.
My dude was playing Final Shape. Ain't even out yet.
Anyway, games are knocking out the park. For real, for Sony.
Not really. They're not selling enough. They might be getting them 90 Metacritics and a 95 Metacritics, whatever the Metacritic, but people aren't buying the games. Not enough are buying them.
Multiplayer is pretty much non-existent. Games as a service. Is that going to be their tie-in to first-party multiplayer games? If you can get effectively a good multiplayer game that's a games as a service, i.e. Last of Us multiplayer, maybe we can start talking. Maybe you can start building up your IPs for that. But this here, these IP things, that ain't it, Chief, man. Games as a service, I'm sorry, it ain't it. Because I don't play a lot of games as a service.
And that's okay. You're just one person. So your opinion, you know, when we're looking on the grand scale of things, sorry to say, doesn't really matter. The fact is, live service games are extremely popular, as has been proven, and they are a very big money earner. And the fact that Sony isn't in that business is part of the reason why they're having to rely on third-party games in order to be successful. But if they had a first-party game to actually milk, then they wouldn't have to rely on the likes of COD in order to make sure that they've got enough money to fund those games that you're saying. So you are wrong here yet again.
You know, because I'm an old school gamer. I know a lot of things for Sony is up in the air, and this right here, I don't know what's going on with this, but it's very concerning. And like I said, like in my title of this video, probably, is this the fall of PlayStation? You never know, people. All right, y'all, like, share, subscribe, and peace for some more gaming content.
All right. That's the video. I mean, in my opinion, he had some good points, a couple of really, really dubious points, and a lot of actually bad takes. I do feel Sony coming out of the live service kind of realm entirely was a bad move. The reality is now they're going to rely on third-party games and try and get those money hatted as exclusive, like they've, you know, done with Helldivers, they're doing with Destiny. And I mean, just look at Helldivers. It's coming to PC and PlayStation day one. On PC, it's going to be a cheaper game and not require PlayStation Plus to run. On PlayStation, it's going to be I think it's $40 or $50. I think it's $50 on PSN, but it still requires PlayStation Plus. Why doesn't it not require that on PC? I think if you're going to release a game like that, it just shouldn't require PlayStation Plus. Remove the barrier for those games. This applies to Xbox as well. Remove those barriers that require, because those games that are live service, you want those to have as easier entry as possible so you can get more people in, more people playing. And that way, there's a good chance that they'll spend money within your microtransaction store. But that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think. I think, you know, the way Sony is going right now, they are starting to heavily invest back into third party and let the third party take those risks. That may be a decent strategy, but at the end of the day, they need something, you know, tangible internally that they can milk to make sure that they are getting that revenue and ideally getting 100% of that revenue. Now, when Call of Duty sells on Xbox, they are getting 100% of the revenue. When it sells on PlayStation, they're getting 70% of the revenue. Sells on Steam, they're getting 70% of the revenue. You know, if it's people are buying cloud to play it, they're getting those Game Pass subscriptions. So just through COD alone, they're getting a revenue stream coming from multiple different areas without the need for an Xbox Live. And the fact is, I guess with a Game Pass Ultimate, where if you're playing over the cloud, you kind of get the game, you know, Xbox Live with it anyway. But, you know, as easy as entry as you can get is what you want in order to make this work. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion, and I will see you in the next one.